Hi, my name is David, I'm in Tainan, and this is Taiwan in English. It's day 4 of the holiday pie week, so I'm back with my friends at Jasubi, and today we'll be making a lattice top berry pie. Okay, now it is time to start making the blueberry pie filling. Blueberry pie filling is really simple. Actually, almost any berry pie is really simple to make. What you're gonna need is about 3 cups of your berries. Now these were frozen. Fresh or frozen doesn't particularly matter, but when they're frozen, they tend to lose their juice a little bit more. And you'll see that here as the juice starts to come out, and then the blueberries start to come out also. I generally like to thaw them out for a couple of hours maybe when I'm going to make a blueberry pie, if I'm using frozen. And if they're fresh, I do like to use some kind of a masher to give them a little bit of a smash. Then you're also going to need to add sugar. And this is the same sugar that I used when I did the blind baking for our chocolate and pumpkin pies earlier this week. And then you're going to need to add some kind of a starch. Now this is a potato starch, and it doesn't actually matter what kind of starch it is. Just don't use taro powder, that's not starch, different. And the last thing we're gonna need is some lemon and or lime juice. We just need a couple of teaspoons. And that is a very bright yellow. And we're gonna turn on the heat. I have to reach around here. We're gonna start off at a very low heat until everything starts to get incorporated. Now with the starch, the more starch that you add, the thicker that the final product is going to be when it goes into the pie crust. I like it to be very thick, so I tend to add a bit more than some people might do. Now if you decide that you want to have this a little bit more of a flavor like cinnamon or nutmeg, throw it on in. No problem at all. We're gonna have to let this cook for a few minutes while the blueberries let off more of their liquid and the starch has a chance to thicken it up until it becomes something along the lines of a very thick jelly. Okay, it's been cooking for a little bit, and you can see that almost all of the liquid is gone. The starch has had a chance to do its job and make everything nice and ooey gooey delicious. So I'm gonna put this over to the side. We're gonna wait a little bit for it to cool down just a bit, and then we're gonna put it into a nice pie crust with a crosshatch topping. Top pattern? You'll see. I'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, time for the blueberry pie. The filling is done. The pie crust is frozen. It's gonna be a rough one, but we can do this. So just like we did when we did the blind baking, we're gonna wanna roll this out. This is going to be a lattice topped pie. A lattice is when you interweave the pie crust, a little bit like a lattice. But first we have to roll this thing out. I left it in the refrigerator a little bit too long. When I say a little bit, I mean a lot too long. And the butter became kind of rock hard. Like I say, we're gonna get this done. All right. Now because this is going to be a lattice, that means that there's going to be strips of pie crust going across the top. We're going to want to put them inside of the bottom piece. So we get the bottom piece of pie crust into the tin, and then we're going to want to put the lattices inside of there because of the shape of this tin. If this tin had a lid on the outside, then you'd want to lay them over the top and crimp them down like that. But now that it's there, we're gonna put the blueberry filling inside. Now, if you're looking at this and you're thinking to yourself, David, that looks like it's too thick, don't use so much starch. Again, I like it to be very thick, so I use kind of a lot of starch. The amounts in the items will be in the description below. You can see it turns into a very nice, thick, jelly type thing. I'll put this aside while we roll out the second piece of dough so that we can cut out the strips. Now to make the strips, it's really very simple. We're just going to cut the dough into nice long strips. I'm gonna go ahead and try to use the knife this time. All right, let's give this a try. Now these are obviously too long, but this one seems to be just about the right length. So we'll put this one in there. And then we'll try to weave these pieces in to make it a nice little lattice. Tuck the edges up around it on the end. Try to get the lattice to be under the outside of the bottom piece. And that's really all there is to it. Doesn't have to be beautiful, but it will taste very good. So we will put this in the oven and I will see you in just a few minutes. Ooh. You can see a nice golden brown color all over the crust. Now we just need to set it aside, let it cool before we give it a cut up and try some blueberry pie. It's done. Blueberry pie with a lattice top. Let's cut into this thing and see how we did. It can be a little hard to get through the crust on the bottom, so make sure you've got something you can not be too worried about cutting into it. And that's going to be it for today. Before you go, if you liked the video or you learned something, please hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss anything. And as always, if you have any questions or you just want to say hi, leave a comment here or you can find me on social media. The links are below. And I will see you in the next exciting episode of Taiwan in English. Bye.